Right, let's talk about the saga of the summer. Alexander Isak's Newcastle United future. He missed the game against Aston Villa at the weekend, and there's no indication that he's set to be reintegrated into the first-team squad anytime soon. We also understand Isak is not expected to attend tonight's PFA Awards, with speculation surrounding that potential move to Liverpool ongoing. Now, as Isak tries to push for a move out of Newcastle, Johan Wissa is pushing for a move to St James's Park. Like Isak, he missed the start of the season. Now, he's removed any reference to Brentford from his Instagram profile, taking down pictures of him playing for the club, and his display picture is now just an empty black circle. Right, Jamie O'Hara, you're having a little giggle at that. Wissa and Isak, they've been criticised for how they've gone about things.
Yeah.
But do you have any sort of sympathy stroke defence of them?
Yeah, I do, actually. And look, here's my take on it. I understand it doesn't look great for a player, you know, who's kicking up a fuss and who wants to get out. There's been promises made, right? One to Wissa. There's been promises being able to move on, and, you know, to Isak, whether that was a gentleman's agreement, a handshake, whatever it is. They've gone back on that, and now they're trying to hold their players to ransom. Yeah, what I would say is there's always going to be Newcastle, right? They're going to be around forever. Brentford are going to be around forever. As a player, you get one chance in a career. You get one career. You've got to try and get the max out of it as you can. If there's an opportunity for you to go and better yourself and go and play for Liverpool, or, you know, Wissa's at Brentford, he goes to a massive club like Newcastle, you're crying at that opportunity to say, give me that opportunity, I want to go. And when a club's, you know, holding you to ransom and saying they want 150 million or, you know, they want 60 million pound for Wissa, come on, guys, let's be realistic. Wissa done a job for you. You said he could leave. You gave him a gentleman's agreement. You said he could, and now you've gone back on it. You could have sold him for 25 and it would have been done. I just think it's out of order. You know, because when the club wants to get rid of you, Tom, and I've had this, and every player knows this, every single player goes through this. When the club want you out, and you've got time left in your contract, they want to push you out the door. They want to shove you out the door and say, go on, move on, thanks for coming, we're off now, we don't want you. Oh, fans, he's got to leave, he should be gone. Right, but when you want to leave and when you want to better yourself and have a chance of going to a massive football club, when you've got one career and it don't last long at the top, you're not allowed to do that. There's no loyalty in football anymore, and, you know, I think, look, it's not easy, but sometimes these things have got to happen. As Roy Keane would say, if you want loyalty, get a dog.
Right, well, Newcastle fans are having their say. We're joined by one now, Newcastle fanlist Matthew Eltringham. Hello again, Matthew. Just hearing Jamie's views on that there. You know that your fans made it very clear about what they think about Isak in that game against Aston Villa on Saturday. How do you expect this one to play out now?
Hi, guys. Yeah, the situation hasn't changed. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. It's not good. It's not great for us. We obviously missed the striker on Saturday. We let our feelings be known at the end of the match, as you'd expect. But I know Jamie's just mentioned players being held to ransom. Jamie, I just think that's a really, really big exaggeration. I mean, Alexander Isak, for example, is being paid what, £140,000 a week to play for a great football club. He's got 3 years on his contract. He's the one who signed that contract. And Liverpool, as it stands right now, are not making the bid that Newcastle deem acceptable. Not only that, the same with the Brentford situation. There are no replacements coming in. You've got to think of the better of the football club. I don't see how a player can be described as being held at ransom.
Well, he wants to leave. He wants out. He's done the business for you. He wants to move to a bigger club. It's as simple as that.
But Newcastle value the player, and you've got to bear in mind we don't need to sell. Yes, it's a massive amount of money with PSR. Of course it is. We are not in the situation of the Man Uniteds, the Chelseas, the Man Cities. But when we don't need to sell one of our assets...
But why would you want a player there who's not happy? He's not happy. He don't want to be there. Sell him on. Get 120 million quid or whatever Liverpool have offered. Take the money, go and buy yourself 3 decent players. Like, well, you've got a player there who don't want to be there, who don't want to play for Newcastle. And whether you like that or not, and it's harsh, that's the reality. He don't want to play for you.
I totally understand that. But again, it falls on this player power conversation of like, yes, he wants to move to Liverpool. I've never begrudged that. Even when I was on last week, we were talking about that. Liverpool just won the Premier League title. I'm not going to sit here and say Newcastle can offer him anywhere the same. The Champions League expectations of Liverpool are very different to Newcastle. But he's clearly been happy in the past. I mean, just 4 or 5 weeks ago, he was commenting under Anthony Elanga's signing post with smiling faces. This hasn't been something where he hasn't wanted to play for Newcastle for a long time. It's because Liverpool have been interested. The media has played up to that massively. His agent clearly wants him to move to Liverpool, which again would make sense. But it's not a case of we sell because Alexander Isak says, I want to go. We need the money that we value him at. I mean, Jack Grealish, 4 or 5 years ago went for 100 million. You cannot tell me that Alexander Isak should be signing for Liverpool for 110 million pound if that's the last bid they made. I think Newcastle need to make a statement with the ownership we have now compared to once upon a time when Mike Ashley probably would have clapped his hands and said, yes, give us the money. We need to make a statement that if you want to take one of our best players as a team at the top of the Premier League, pay the money. And Liverpool fans are continuing to say, just sell him to us, just sell him to us. Well, that's a two-sided argument for me. Give us the money and we might consider it.
But you're not happy, though, right, Matt, with Isak, but you'll take Wissa in open arms. You'll love him when he comes to the football club, right?
Again, I've got to be honest, I think I've seen that conversation on social media. I think that's quite a lazy narrative because not one single Newcastle fan would claim to be happy about the way Wissa's gone on. I think the social media thing, bearing in mind that is fully him. His agent hasn't taken his social media.
Did you want to sign Wissa in the first place, you personally, and do you still want to sign him now? If so,
I think it's tarnished that, but I think there's a level of realism with football fans. If we're all being brutally honest, and I think Liverpool fans would agree that when it's a player when it's something that affects your football club, for example, the way Isak's going on, of course that's going to upset us as Newcastle fans. The way Johan Wissa's going on, that's because he wants to come to us. Would Johan Wissa, at the age of 28, show the same behaviour at Newcastle in the next 2 or 3 years? No. But the argument we've tried to make to Liverpool fans, and I'm sure that they might be asking the same questions, is if Alexander Isak goes to Liverpool, absolutely smashes it, as I'm sure he would in the next 2 to 3 years, would a Real Madrid come calling? Would Alexander Isak then show the same behaviour? Yes. So I think it's two different situations, but I don't think any football fan can condone the behaviour of the pair of them. And I think
whether you like it or not, there's pecking orders in football. There's a pecking order, and you know Newcastle are a big club in Newcastle, and the problem you've got is when Liverpool come along, players want to move. Brentford, you're bigger than Brentford, so Wissa wants to go to Newcastle because they're a bigger club. The problem you've got is Newcastle fans think Newcastle are the biggest club in the world, but you're not. And Isak's made that, and Isak's just pointed that out to us, and that's just the reality. Trent Alexander-Arnold done it to Liverpool. Liverpool think they're the biggest club in the world. Real Madrid are, and Trent showed that. And that's the reality. There's pecking orders in football. Don't keep a player that don't want to be there. Let him go. Get your money. See you later. Newcastle is still going to be a great club.
But what I would say to that, Jamie, is it's the better of the football club that's the most important thing. So if we sell Alexander Isak with what? 2 weeks of the window to go. We currently haven't got, we talked about Johan Wissa. Brentford have apparently, as we led to believe, asked for more money. So that one might not happen. So you're telling me that just because the player wants to go, we should go into the season, a Champions League season, as we're looking to continue to build, with no striker, just because Alexander Isak has spat his dummies out, he's dummy out the pram.
You've had time to get this. You've had time to get this done. You've had time to get it over the line. You've lost out on Ekatika. You lost out on Sesko. Because you're trying to hold him to ransom, you don't want him to leave, but you've got a player there who don't want to play for you. What are you going to do? You're going to keep him, he's going to come back into the squad. He might walk around.
Yeah, Matthew, sadly, we've run out of time. This could have gone on forever, understanding. We should just mention, by the way, that Johan Wissa wasn't given any assurances that he would be allowed to leave this summer. The club didn't do that, but he is, as you know, trying to get his way to Newcastle United. That one is not dead yet.